That evening, the rain poured relentlessly outside the dorm window, blurring the lights of the city skyline. I sat at my desk, staring at the email from the university housing office, the words sharp and unforgiving. Final notice. Payment overdue. Immediate action required. My heart pounded as I reread the message, my mind racing for a solution. The semester had barely started, but it felt like my world was already falling apart. My name is Mia Carter, a first-year student at New York City University, majoring in journalism. My acceptance here was a dream come true, a reward for years of relentless hard work and sleepless nights. But now that dream was turning into a nightmare. The financial aid I had relied on hadn't come through, and my part-time job at the campus library barely covered my daily expenses. Outside the window, the rain beat harder against the glass, mirroring the chaos in my mind. My phone buzzed on the desk. It was a call from my mother. "Mia, have you eaten?" she asked, her voice soft but strained. I hesitated, the lump in my throat making it hard to speak. "Yeah, Mom, I'm fine," I lied, not wanting to burden her with my troubles. "That's good," she replied, but her voice lacked its usual warmth. There was a pause. Then she added, "Mia, about the money. I'm trying, but things are tough right now." I closed my eyes, the weight of her words pressing down on me. I knew things had been difficult since Dad left 2 years ago, but I didn't expect the financial strain to follow me here. "It's okay, Mom. I'll figure something out," I said, forcing a steadiness I didn't feel. After we hung up, I stared at the email again, the words blurring as tears filled my eyes. I felt trapped, like the walls of the tiny dorm room were closing in on me. The sound of laughter from the hallway snapped me out of my thoughts. Students were heading out, their carefree chatter a stark contrast to the storm brewing in my life. I took a deep breath and opened my laptop. Desperation fueled my search for solutions. Emergency financial aid, part-time jobs, even odd gigs. Anything to keep me afloat. Hours passed and the rain outside eased into a soft drizzle. Just as I was about to give up for the night, a notification popped up on my screen. It was a message from my best friend, Elena. "Hey, you okay? Haven't heard from you in days." For a moment I considered ignoring it, but then I typed back, "Not really. Can we talk?" Within minutes she called, "Mia, what's going on?" Elena's voice was filled with concern. I hesitated, then told her everything. The overdue payment, the financial aid delay, my part-time job barely making a dent. It all came tumbling out. Elena listened patiently, her silence encouraging me to continue. When I finished, she said, "You're not alone in this. We'll figure it out together." Her words brought a sliver of comfort, but the weight of the situation remained. We spent the next hour brainstorming ideas. By the time we ended the call, I had a tentative plan. Visit the financial aid office first thing in the morning and see if there was any way to expedite my scholarship funds. The next day, the campus buzzed with activity as students rushed to their classes. I made my way to the financial aid office, clutching a folder of documents. The waiting room was packed, the air thick with tension. When my name was finally called, I stepped into the small office, greeted by a middle-aged woman with kind eyes. "Mia Carter? Please, have a seat," she said, gesturing to the chair across from her desk. I explained my situation, my voice trembling slightly as I recounted the delay in my scholarship funds and the looming eviction notice. She listened intently, nodding occasionally. When I finished, she leaned back in her chair and sighed. "Unfortunately, these delays aren't uncommon," she said. "But let's see what we can do." She typed on her computer, the click of the keyboard filling the silence. After a few minutes, she looked up. "There's an emergency grant you might qualify for. It's not much, but it could buy you some time." Relief washed over me, and I nodded eagerly. "Yes, please." "Anything helps. She handed me a form and explained the process. As I left the office, a small flicker of hope reignited within me. It wasn't a solution, but it was a start. That evening, as I filled out the grant application, my phone buzzed with another notification. This time, it was a message from an unknown number. "Mia, it's Dad. Can we talk?" I stared at the screen, my emotions swirling. My father hadn't contacted me since he left 2 years ago. Part of me wanted to ignore it, but another part, the one that still yearned for answers, compelled me to reply. "What do you want?" The response came quickly. "I heard you're in trouble. Let me help." A bitter laugh escaped me. Help? From the man who had walked out on us? But as much as I wanted to reject his offer, the desperation in my situation made me hesitate. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet him. We arranged to meet at a small cafe near campus. When I arrived, he was already there, looking older and more worn than I remembered. He stood as I approached, a tentative smile on his face. "Mia, it's so good to see you," he said, his voice filled with emotion. I sat down, crossing my arms. "What do you want?" He sighed, running a hand through his graying hair. "I know I've made mistakes, but I want to make things right." "Why now?" I asked, my voice sharp. "You left us. You left Mom. Do you have any idea what that did to us?" He looked down, guilt etched across his face. "I know I can't undo the past, but I want to help. I've been saving up. It's not much, but it might help with your tuition." His words caught me off guard. Was this genuine remorse or another empty promise? The mistrust I'd harbored for years battled with the faint hope that maybe, just maybe, he was trying to change. I'll think about it," I said finally, standing to leave. "But don't expect forgiveness overnight." As I walked back to campus, my mind raced. Should I accept his help? Could I trust him? The answers weren't clear, but one thing was certain. I needed to focus on the present. In the weeks that followed, I threw myself into finding solutions. The emergency grant came through, covering part of the overdue payment. I picked up extra shifts at the library and started tutoring high school students in the evenings. It was exhausting, but the thought of losing my place at NYCU kept me going. Meanwhile, my relationship with my father remained tentative. He called occasionally, checking in and offering support. Each conversation chipped away at the wall I'd built around my heart, but I wasn't ready to let him all the way in. One evening, as I was packing up my things at the library, Elena showed up, her face lit with excitement. "Mia, you'll never guess what I found." "What?" I asked, curious despite my exhaustion. She pulled out a flyer for a campus journalism contest. "The grand prize is $5,000. You have to enter." My initial reaction was skepticism. "Elena, I don't have time for this." "Mia, you're a fantastic writer," she insisted, "and you have a story to tell." Her words struck a chord. I did have a story of struggle, resilience, and hope. Over the next few days, I poured my heart into the piece, staying up late to perfect every word. The deadline loomed, but I submitted it just in time. Weeks later, as I sat in my dorm room reviewing notes for a class, an email notification popped up on my screen. It was from the contest organizers. My hands trembled as I opened it. "Congratulations, Mia Carter. You are the winner of this year's campus journalism contest." Tears streamed down my face as the realization sank in. The prize money wasn't just financial relief. It was validation that my voice mattered. The victory brought new opportunities. My story was published in the campus newspaper, and I was invited to speak at a student event. For the first time in months, I felt a sense of stability and purpose. Through it all, my father continued to reach out, and I slowly began to let him back into my life. He attended the student event where I spoke, sitting quietly in the back row, Afterward, he approached me, his eyes glistening with pride. "Mia, that was incredible," he said. "You've grown into an amazing young woman." His words touched a part of me I thought I'd buried. "Thanks, Dad," I said, and for the first time in years, I meant it. Life wasn't perfect, but it was moving forward. I balanced my studies, work, and newfound opportunities with a determination I hadn't known I possessed. The challenges I'd faced had shaped me, and though the scars remained, they were a reminder of how far I'd come. As spring arrived, bringing new beginnings, I realized that my story was just one of many. Each student on campus carried their own struggles and triumphs. And through my work in journalism, I hope to give voice to those stories, showing that even in the face of adversity, hope could be found.